All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick, we had our WWE NXT review. We talked about the AEW Dynamite preview, and we also talked about how Tony Khan, his explanation for constantly criticizing the WWE, just to kind of, you know, rightfully so, getting the rise out of the wrestling public, the professional wrestling industry, wrestlers, top promoters and stuff like that. It's just good business. It's just good business. Good competition, kind of requires a little crowd talking here and there, which is, kind of cool. So let's go and move on. So we have Paul Heyman possibly moving forward from the Bloodline. There's a lot of speculations you've seen on Friday Night SmackDown that Paul Heyman has. It just seems like he's getting. It seems like he's kind of getting rubbed out. It seems like that the Solo Sikoa doesn't really want him there anymore. Every single time Paul Heyman opens his mouth, you can see Solo like, "Oh God, get this guy away from me!" Like it's just bad. It's going to be interesting to kind of see what they do with the whole Paul Heyman thing. So let's go ahead and jump right and into that. We're going to talk about possible things for Paul Heyman coming up. Love Paul Heyman, obviously Hall of Famer. So yeah, let's get on into it. So like I said before, Paul Heyman has his storyline is a little uncertain right now, but Paul Heyman in the behind the backstage has been extensively working and helping NXT call ups to the bone. So which makes you think that maybe he could possibly move on from the bloodline for a little bit, maybe until Roman Reigns comes back, maybe or I doubt he will never ever be the wise man for anybody but Roman Reigns. I want to say that right now. I'm going to say that right now. But if he kind of had to go back to like kind of managing, something again, like there's a difference between the wise man and kind of like a manager. So I don't know. I think ultimately he's going to be out of the bloodline. Like I said before, Solo Sikoa, Tamatonga, Tongaloa, they want to kind of do things their own way. And if Paul Heyman's going to consistently be there week after week, they can't really run the bloodline the way they want to because, Heyman's going to be constantly chirping in their ear about, you think this is the right thing from the tribal chief? Oh, why are you doing that? This isn't what Roman would have wanted. And as you can kind of see from Solo Sikoa that this is kind of like a bad son of a biscuit right here. And I think ultimately it would be smart for Paul Heyman to kind of move on for the moment. Obviously, him coming back would be awesome. I thought that you would see like Jey Uso and Tamatonga finals for the King of the Ring, and then you would see Paul Heyman screw over Tamatonga to kind of hop on the Jay side, but that didn't work out. You had Gunther moving on, so it's gonna be interesting to find out what happens on Friday Night SmackDown. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think he has interest in being beside Solo Sikoa. I think it's done between them. I think that he never really wanted to become the wise man for him, anyways. So Paul Heyman is looking for a way out right now, and there's so many ways you can do it. Which kind of got me to think about maybe a possible return from Brock Lesnar. But thanks to everything that's happening with, Vince McMahon and the Janelle Grant court case, it seems like that connection's kind of broken. I don't think Brock Lesnar will ever kind of make his way back to the WWE. Possibly could, but I think Paul Heyman would, I don't think it'd be smart for him to kind of, oh, Brock's back. I'm going to absolutely hop on him. You know what I mean? This guy's homie hopping. I'm just kidding, no. But no, I don't think it'd be smart. I don't think it'd be smart for his career for Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. If he ever comes back to the WWE, you got to bet your ass that there's going to be a lot of scrutiny. There's going to be a lot of a lot of people upset about him ultimately coming back because he had such a huge influence in the whole court case and stuff like that. So I honestly think him going back to Brock Lesnar, managing Brock Lesnar is probably, kind of in the woods, never going to happen. But if it did, I could, if Brock Lesnar was willing to kind of, be like, all right, I kind of have to do WWE a solid. Maybe they kind of helped him pay for his lawyers. Maybe they ultimately like kind of like, all right, Brock, we'll get you out of here, but you have to do, you have to play kayfabe, you have to play ball, you have to do this and that and the other. If Brock Lesnar loses to somebody like Solo Sikoa, it would absolutely perpetuate and propel Solo Sikoa's career within a night. Absolutely. If he beats a guy like Brock Lesnar, even if there's a, bloodline interference, that's something that could definitely end with Paul Heyman on the side, where Paul Heyman, would watch Brock Lesnar lose, ultimately having to crawl back to the bloodline, and then Solo Sikoa would be kind of be like that, kind of like, you belong here. See what happens when you try to think for yourself. And I could see that possibly happening if Brock Lesnar comes back. But that's a big ass maybe. We don't know if that would ever happen because obviously the stipulations and stuff like that. So, I think that'd be good for Solo Sikoa's career to get a win over Brock Lesnar. But this is, a huge, huge, huge speculation. This storyline, this plot, this idea of Solo beating Lesnar probably has a 0.3% chance of actually kind of making it to the world of life that we have here. So, yeah. And I don't know, it just, it's kind of crazy because what if he goes to Jay? If he goes to Jay Uso, obviously you kind of saw Paul Heyman have a lot of faith in Jay, kind of, well, with the whole Sami Zayn thing and Sami Zayn trying to get kicked out. Well, Paul Heyman was ultimately one of the huge culprits of trying to get Sami Zayn to get out. But I don't know. I feel like if Paul Heyman goes with Jay Uso, it would create kind of this wedge that maybe this eventual storyline between the civil war between the bloodline that's going to actually surface probably at the end of the year, maybe before WrestleMania or even next year, which would be absolutely pretty crazy, but it's a possibility. But I don't know, it's going to be interesting to kind of see what Paul Heyman does, as a kind of like a chess piece, so I don't know. And like I said before, I feel like Paul Heyman will have to leave the bloodline because whenever you bring up Roman Reigns' name, it's so relatable to the storyline that's being published on each and every episode of WWF SmackDown or even WWE Raw. When you bring up Roman Reigns' name and you have Paul Heyman attached to it, it's kind of bad news for the young bloodline. This is why I feel like ultimately the young bloodline, Solo Sikoa, will find a way to kind of kick Paul Heyman out. I don't know if they're going to kick his ass or anything like that, but yeah. And just kind of, this might be a little way off tangent, but this is a possibility. Um, I have never, I have never ever seen Paul Heyman manage a women's wrestler. Imagine if he asserts himself in the women's division, if he's like a manager, if he's the advocate for someone like, Blair Davenport or, Roxanne Perez or Nia Jax or Tamina, Nia and Tamina, technically part of the bloodline, not part, not part of the bloodline, whatever. But it'd be interesting to see that. Or what if Alexa Bliss comes back and like, she needs some good manager, experience and stuff like that. And Paul Heyman will be there. I think that would be pretty interesting to I would honestly love to see him go into the women's division. He's never really represented a woman in his whole entire career. He's represented guys like The Undertaker, obviously Brock Lesnar, and, so on and so forth, Roman Reigns. So I don't know, it'd be kind of interesting to kind of see, like just, just kind of like a difference, just something that's absolutely unpredictable. Definitely something that, the WWE universe would have never thought of or even like, even pictured inside their brain. So definitely would have been awesome. So, those are my opinions of where Paul Heyman, his other options besides staying on the bloodline. Well, guys, don't go anywhere. We have approximately like 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and kill this show with hot seat, or cool beans. We're gonna go through some AEW superstars fighting at Double or Nothing, and we're gonna talk about if if the seat under them's hot, where they have to go out and prove themselves in this pay per view, or if it's cool. If it's cool, like basically where you at right now, it's probably the best for the business. So you're not gonna have too much pressure on you. So stay tuned for this hot seat and cool beans, the AEW Double or Nothing edition. So hey, don't go anywhere.